Hi everyone, I'm Mary Magellan and I'm a professional development facilitator based in San Francisco, California. I've developed this quick series of videos for managers and directors who are looking for help and tips on how to develop a remote team strategy. The next 3 videos are going to be focusing on developing your communications plan. Let's get started. So if you don't have a communications plan, there's going to be a lot of chaos. You're going to get everyone using a different technology to communicate, whether it's Slack, Teams, emails, attachments, texting, chatting, storing things in folders that people can't find. It becomes chaos. And we end up with these challenges. People find it really difficult to stay on the same page. Everyone's using a different tool. People start feeling isolated and confused, can't find that attachment or resource, and the stress builds up. And we don't want any of that. These are some of the goals when we create a remote communication strategy. Firstly, to build team culture and continue to increase trust, especially knowing that it's so easy to get isolated and feel like you're in a silo when you work remotely. Another key goal is to reduce the conflict, tension, and stress that can build up. And finally, to improve efficiency and effectiveness on our team by all getting on the same page and having a common strategy for how we all work together to communicate. One of the best ways to kickstart your communication strategy is to get everyone in your team in a virtual room and start a brainstorming session where you collect the best practices of how communication is currently working well. When you convene with your team to build out your communications plan, there's 3 areas you want to focus on. How is our technology supporting the way that we communicate? What do our check-ins look like currently when we're working remotely? And finally, how are we going to manage conflict and tension as it arises? Let's start by looking at how our technology resources align to the ways we communicate. The first question you want to ask as a team is, what kind of purposes do we have for our communications? Purposes could include things like, I need to send out a brief to senior leadership every week, or I need to update my project team on changes to the scope of the project. And I've listed a couple more examples on the PowerPoint deck. Once you've listed out the purposes of your communications, it's now time to align the technology resources that you use to the right purpose. And here are a couple guidelines. So when we think about email, we want to think of this as really a transactional, targeted way of communicating to a specific group of people that's really one way. We can't control when or if they will ever respond. And also remember that only about 30% of people will read your entire email. We're now starting to see organizations move away from emails, reserving external communications for email and moving all internal communications to tools like Teams or Slack. If the purpose of your communication is to be collaborative, to gather input and feedback from folks, perhaps edit documents as a group, revise things, share documents and updates on projects, then most likely Microsoft Teams or Slack is the way to go. Text and chat is now built into tools like Microsoft Teams and Slack and is really handy for informal, quick responses. And then finally, if your organization has some kind of intranet, this is a great space to blast out organization-wide updates, increase the way that you're interacting across your organization, and reach out across teams. I've provided you a sample technology plan to get started, and you can get this PowerPoint deck in the link below the video. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for future videos on how to collaborate and build your team culture while working remotely. Bye!